Hey everybody, Yankee here. Today I want to make a video on a topic that is very controversial right now, or at least politically controversial, but I don't want to take a political side in it. I don't want anyone to think that's why I'm doing this, because I'm not taking a political side. What I'm actually doing is I want to stand up for the troops, the enlisted troops, and their rights. And I want to make sure they understand their rights, because it seems like a lot of people are trying to tell them different. And what I'm talking about, of course, is whether soldiers have a right to disobey unlawful orders. It seems like a lot of people are wanting to tell them that they don't. And there's a lot of people telling them that they do, even though they shouldn't be telling them that in that way because they're making it political. But what really bothers me more is the people that are coming back from the other side. Even though I think one side was wrong for saying it, it's true. It's not the place of politicians to be saying this on a political theater, but it's true. Soldiers do have the right to disobey unlawful orders. And I don't like the fact that some people are coming out and saying, no, they don't. It says right there, you will obey the orders of the president, period, when it doesn't say that. There is no period after that. So today I want to take a look at the oath and the military code of justice that it references. Because first, before we go any further here, like I said, I want to make sure everybody knows, I'm not taking a political side. I'm not shy about taking political sides, but in this, I'm not taking one. I'm just speaking up for the troops themselves, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. First, let's read the oath of enlistment. Now, some people have never served, and some people don't seem to remember what it was, so I'm going to read it verbatim here. I, state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. You're swearing your allegiance to the Constitution and nothing else. And that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of officers appointed over me. And this is where a lot of people seem to want to put a period. There is no period there. It continues and says, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice, so help me God. So that is the oath. You swear allegiance only to the Constitution, not to the Congress, not to the country, not to the president, just the Constitution. That's your primary allegiance. And as far as obeying orders from the president and superior officers, it tells you there what those orders have to be. They have to be within regulations, and they have to follow the military code of justice or code of conduct. So that means if they fall outside that, you do not have to obey them. In fact, you don't just have a right to disobey unlawful orders, you have an obligation to disobey unlawful orders. And the code of justice and code of conduct is not vague. It says very clearly the types of orders you are not to obey. You are not to rape anybody, murder anybody. These are brought up intentionally. And remember, murder is not the same as shooting someone during combat. You're not to intentionally target civilians, torture prisoners, violate the U.S. Constitution. That's the number one thing. Or violate federal laws, domestic laws, such as the Posse Comitatus Act, or Posse Cunnilingus, I like to call it. I don't remember how to say it. Comitatus, I guess is how you say it. And you're not allowed to violate international law. You can't commit war crimes. If anyone orders you to do those things, like I said, you not only have the right to refuse those orders, you have an obligation. Because you're the one that's going to be on the hook for it. And that's one of the reasons I want to make this. That's the main reason I want to make this. It's not because I want to take a political side in it. It's because I don't want soldiers being taught that you're the tool of the ruling class and whatever they say, you have to do it, even if it's illegal. No. You are a thinking, breathing person. Just because you were brave enough to put on that uniform doesn't make you their property. I know a lot of people like, you're property of the U.S. government. No, you're a person. And you have to be able to think for yourself. It's essential in combat. Now, there are times when you have to just obey orders. If you're in direct fire, you're in combat, you're under wartime regulations, obey orders. That's not the time to question them. But like, say, if a major general walks into your office or into your barracks, hands you a rifle and says, hey, we got some political visitors today. While they're here going down the main drag here, I want you to sit in this building here. And when this politician goes by, you need to blow their brains out. This order comes directly from the president. You don't do that. You're going to prison if you do that. And don't let them use you as a tool to escape punishment for something they want to do. That's illegal. That's why this bothers me so much. We've got people in power, millionaires, billionaires, politicians, telling soldiers, no matter what we tell you to do or the president tells you to do, you got to do it. And that's just not the case. The Nuremberg trials, if they taught us anything, taught us that just following orders is not an excuse when you break the law or you commit crimes. That was the whole point. Nazis couldn't say, hey, I was just following orders. No, you committed atrocities. You're responsible for them. Any thinking reasonable person would have known this is wrong. So that is on the soldier, and being told that that is not your right is a gross violation of the Constitution, in my fact. It's treating you like you're not people. So be aware. Now, like I said, it's not the place of one politician to tell you what laws are unlawful or not. And it's not the place of another politician to tell you you don't have the right to disobey, because you do. You have the right and the obligation if they are unlawful orders. Read your code of justice. Pay attention to it. Study it. I remember when you go to OCS or ROTC or BNOC, they drill that stuff into you. Sometimes it's lacking for lower enlisted people, but make sure to take it upon yourself to learn those things. Because, like I said, you be the one that takes the fall if you do something illegal. Now, it's really hard. It's hard to stand up and be the guy who, says this is wrong, but sometimes you got to do it. And I understand why sometimes people don't. Like if your commanding officer says, hey, waterboard that guy, you're going to probably waterboard him. Because who are you? You're one person in a battalion, and you're not going to have much of a voice, and the next guy's just going to do it and you're going to get court-martialed. That's a shame. But the guy who does stand up and say no, well, that's the true hero, just so you know. But like I was saying, this is only to protect the soldiers, not political. Like I said, politics shouldn't be involved in this, and you shouldn't be making decisions based on politics either. Like if we declared war tomorrow on Canada and you were told you're invading Toronto tomorrow, you don't say, I disagree with that politically, so I think it's an unlawful order. No. Even if the Democratic senators are saying, we voted against it and we think it's wrong, it's an unlawful order, don't follow it, it's still lawful. Just because they lost doesn't make it unlawful. If war's been declared and you've got your marching orders to go into Toronto, you go into Toronto. Now, while in Toronto, if your commanding officer or the president says, hey, kill all the children, well, you don't do that. Target the civilians. You don't do that. Break international law. Break the Geneva Convention. You don't do that. You have an obligation to not do that. Not only to the country, but to yourself. Because you're representing the country. And the Code of Conduct and the Code of Justice, many instances in there where it's not as clear-cut as it is in some, where it says anything that makes the military look bad, or anything that isn't, to make the military advance. If it isn't necessary for the proper advancement of a military agenda, you don't do it. There's lots of stuff in there that you don't do. So familiarize yourself with that. Don't be the pawn of the billionaires and the elite class. Our army is not a bunch of robots who will follow through with illegal orders just to get along because they think they have to. Know your rights, because you have every right to refuse an unlawful order. And not only that, you have an obligation. Because when things get bad, who are you making look bad? The country. And who's going to pay for it? You are. So make sure you know not only what your rights are, but your obligations. Please hit that like button and share this video on whatever social media you have. Since this is a restricted channel, you're the only chance we have to overcome YouTube's anti-2A bias and discrimination.